And the Oscar goes to Jared Leto.
So, let's talk about Jared Leto, the actor, the musician, and the chosen one, who's achieved huge success both as an actor and a rock star. He's reached the highest points of both forms of entertainment. He's a born performer. This guy is jumping off stages for the crowd. I never knew how good his voice was. And I never fully realized how many good parts he's actually played. Hey, Paul! And yes, he's definitely reached the stage of a messiah complex. But it's the result of this, and Hollywood rewarding him for what he's done.
Another martini, Paul.
So why would we be surprised to see this? When we did this, his acting range goes from this, to this, to this. Yep, it's only a pinky. Yeah, another one. Now, who needs a third finger? So, I've had a good look at a lot of his films, and you have to give him credit, because whatever he's doing in a majority of his films, he steals the show. A lot. And to watch a lot of his performances, you wouldn't really see why he's getting a lot of hate and criticism, as he's a genuinely solid actor. I mean, yes, when you look at him in interviews and a lot of behind the scenes things, yeah, you kind of understand. He is a little bit off. Jared Leto doesn't lack any confidence, and confidence isn't a bad thing. You don't become a Hollywood star without believing in yourself. In fact, a certain amount of ego is a requirement. You're putting yourself out there in a big way. You're making choices, and this means giving a full commitment to those choices on camera for the world to see. So, yeah, let's be honest, to be a successful actor, you need a serious set of balls. You're making huge creative choices, committing to them completely, and then putting the results in front of millions of people. When you see him on stage, he loves it. This is where he's most comfortable. And that's exactly what an actor slash rock star slash messiah needs. That's what he feeds off. He's like a vampire, feeding off that. But again, this is what the public has done. This is what they've given him. And he reached such a pinnacle in his career that eventually, like all big stars, they usually fall off in some way.
You can probably guess which lyrics I'm going to pick out of Up in the Air.
I don't know. Surprise me.
I'll wrap my hands around your neck so tight with love, love, love.
Yeah.
And he's received a lot of criticism recently about a few not so good projects that he's done, namely Tron, Ares, Morbius, and Suicide Squad, which is where it all began. But a few supposedly bad performances and the public just piles on, and all the good work that he did beforehand just gets buried. But what's spurring on a lot of the criticism is this whole method acting debacle. This guy is one of the main reasons why method acting is getting a bad rap today. He's so confident that he's delivered a masterclass that the problem is that he's applying the method. He's applying it to potentially the wrong parts. Actors since Marlon Brando to Robert De Niro to Christian Bale, famous for method acting, have displayed so much obsession and determinism to their performances that it's impressive for audiences to see how far a human will go for the craft. But there's this fine line where audiences are losing interest now in seeing an actor trying to prove how committed they are. We don't want that to be the performance, to show someone working hard. That's just annoying. You don't want to be the try-hard kid. And also, we want results. That will always be the deciding factor. We all instinctively know Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio have given some stellar performances, and they're character-driven, and there's an element of disappearing. But we don't want to see the interviews about how they did it. We want the work to speak for itself.
Pressure, I tried a lot of different laughs out on the streets of New York and Toronto.
People just thought something was wrong with you.
And that's where he seems to have got a lot of criticism. And to be fair, you probably have to blame the publicity, the behind the scenes footage, where you see a lot of the making of, and you see Jared Leto method acting. And we see too much, because now we're watching a guy who knows he's being filmed behind the scenes acting like someone else. With real method acting, you're building a framework, steps to take to embody a character, give a most realistic performance, both inside and out. It's not an imitation, it's designed so that you have the mindset of this real person. But the method method acting should not really apply to a comic book character, and especially the most high-octane, crazy version of the Joker that's been done. You don't go method for this part, buddy.
I got that. Jared said, you say Jared has gone full Joker.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Jared, he went full Joker, you know.
You went full retard, man.
And the rule generally is never go full Joker.
An imbecile. Yeah. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
When I was playing the character.
Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix, they were not method for the parts of the Joker. They were working intensely for the character, but between takes, the Joker's not on display. The Suicide Squad was its own commercial beast, which meant that everything was just heightened to insane levels. But this is why we started seeing a guy who appears to be doing it all for the shock factor, for being labeled as the crazy guy on set. The preparation, getting most of the attention. The weight loss, bizarre stories, the weird gift.
Sticky Playboy magazines.
Yeah. You gotta use condom. What do you say? You can't just skip over. You gotta use condom. What do you say? You can't just skip over. What do you say? What do you say? What do you think? Say. What do you think? You can't just do you say. What do you think?
And at some point, all of that became more memorable than the performance itself. And after Suicide Squad, he just seemed to continue to want to go down the road of disappearing into different characters, but all non-realistic characters, all fictional characters. In Blade Runner, he played an AI. The Joker again appeared in the next DC movie. Morbius, a vampire, monster, scientist. Tron Ares, another AI computer program. These are all what you would describe as theatrical performances. Big paydays, most likely, but the audiences now associate him with these commercial, unreal performances, and we don't rate him as a serious actor anymore, which is a shame because he does deserve some praise for the work that he's done. The exceptions that I've found are The Little Things, The Outsider, Dallas Buyers Club, Requiem for a Dream, and American Psycho. In many ways, you have to give him credit because before Suicide Squad, he seemed pretty selective in what he was choosing. Based on his look and his way of acting, I think he's best in these quieter indie roles, something where he can do very softer, subtle performances. But for some reason, he's aiming for the opposite types of roles, the louder, wilder parts. The Little Things.
No.
How's the trunk space?
Standard.
The movie's a crime thriller carried by three very good actors, and he steals the show.
Cute little thing, wasn't she?
There was no doubt in my mind that when you put Denzel and Jared into a room, there was going to be some fireworks.
To go toe-to-toe with Denzel is once in a lifetime.
We got you. We got you.
Considering we've got Denzel and Mr. Robot, who are both powerhouse performances, this is no small achievement. And this isn't one of the usual transformation-heavy roles. It's a quiet, genuinely unsettling performance.
Son of a bitch. Your dick is as hard as Chinese arithmetic.
You never know what the character is going to do, and it's a spontaneous look that the Joker could have benefited from.
It was fascinating watching Jared come to the character.
How's the trunk space? To dig in and dive deep, it was a lot of work. You have to pay attention to the detail.
And this movie's a great example of what a good supporting actor does, who adds to the story, who gives a great performance for Denzel and Rami to react to. This is what the wheelhouse of acting should be, a collaborative effect.
You should see the look on your faces. Come on, it's hilarious.
In The Outsider, a film that largely flew under the radar, despite being packed with some amazing, talented Japanese actors, Leto plays Nick Lowell, an American drifter who finds himself pulled into the world of the Yakuza. It's a remarkably stoic character. His lack of expression becomes part of the performance. While everyone around him is dealing with betrayal and violence, Nick remains eerily composed, almost detached from everything. And the stillness that he gives the character gives him a lot of presence on screen. He doesn't dominate the scenes through emotional outbursts or big charisma. He dominates it by being still, by being absent and just observing everyone. He doesn't react in the ways you would expect. He actually shows a lot of restraint as an actor, serving the character and the story instead of himself. Requiem for a Dream. Man, this is a depressing movie. Directed by Darren Aronofsky, it's a relentless, fast-paced, artsy, aggressive, highly edited, distorted, any other description words I can use? highly stylized presentation that puts you inside the character's mental states. Lots of symbolism, visual storytelling. It's a depressing but good movie that stays with you. Your mind takes some time to process what it's just watched. And a lot of the scenes he plays, they're all very subtle, very emotional, but very not over the top. And this was one of the movies that really started to show his emotional range. What Jared Leto does is he works well in an ensemble piece. He adds to the movie. He works great as a supporting actor.
Wasn't Rothschild originally handling the Fisher account? How'd you get it?
Well, I could tell you that, Halberstram. But then I'd have to kill you.
American Psycho. A powerhouse performance packed with nuance, intensity, razor-sharp comic timing. A part so influential that it helped redefine what a modern screen villain could look like. Unfortunately for Jared Leto, I'm talking about Christian Bale. But Jared is good in it, and he gets to play Paul Allen, which for any Pat Bateman fan means a lot. He goes down in history.
Great ass. Goes out with that loser Patrick Bateman. What a dork.
Another martini, Paul.
Paul Allen is irritating, smug, effortlessly successful. The kind of man who can ruin your entire week just by having a slightly better business card.
Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God. It even has a watermark.
Something wrong? Patrick? You're sweating.
And Leto nails it. He fits into the world perfectly. He looks the part and he carries himself exactly the way the character would. And most importantly, he gives Christian Bale someone to play against. Christian delivers an insanely high-level performance that you gotta think, getting to watch Christian Bale dance around him, he must have learned so much and been inspired.
Hey, Paul!
27 Days, the story tracks Mark David Chapman in the final days before he murders John Lennon. It's less of a thriller and more of a psychological examination of a man unraveling. So much of the film is centered on this guy, so the burden falls squarely on Leto's performance. You'd never doubt the amount of work that he's put into the performance. Knowing what he looks like normally, compared to this, it's a drastic transformation, and it aids in the performance. He captures a lot of the character's loneliness and fixation that he has, and this type of drifter personality. The problem is that the film never really gives him a lot to work with. It doesn't really offer a lot of meaningful insight into this guy. We spend a lot of the time just hanging out, watching and observing him, but nevertheless, it is a committed performance, and it's one of the best that he's done, mainly because of the fact that he is leading the movie entirely himself, and this subtle performance is what he does so well. Even critics who dislike the movie still acknowledge the performance. Dallas Buyers Club, which I actually don't think he's amazing in it, but he wins the Oscar for this movie, and these are exactly the performances that Hollywood tends to celebrate. The drastic body transformations, the stories about shedding the pounds. It gets people talking about the preparation, the sacrifice to play a part like this. And before long, Hollywood and everyone is talking about the transformation as opposed to the acting. And Hollywood loves this shit. Is it the performance that they like or the transformation? Is it the emotional work? Or is it the fact that everyone could see how much effort went into making this character? Some of you might agree that he should have won or that he shouldn't have won. But if anything, it just reveals that this kind of supporting role he does well. He does it in Fight Club, American Psycho, The Little Things, small supporting roles that assist to the movie and assist to the other actors. He provides good support for the lead. He's the one that Matthew McConaughey gets to play off. After he wins the Oscar, things do change because he has a lot more power now. He has a lot more pull.
Son of a bitch, your dick is as hard as Chinese arithmetic.
What else can you uncover? What other parts of this story, of this life, what can you do that hasn't been done? That side of me that likes exploration, that likes adventure, that likes to push the envelope.
He's not in the movie a lot, but he is the main driving force. He's the biggest name. He's definitely one of the biggest names, and you can't deny it. He goes for it. He gives it full commitment, and that can either pay off or not pay off. And in this case, it doesn't pay off. And this was the part that generated the endless stories about method acting, where he supposedly stayed in character, the role where he sent bizarre gifts to members, used condoms, a live rat, a dead pig, the usual Hallmark gifts, Taking on the Joker comes with high expectations from the fans. The tattoos, the grill, constant laughing, the gangsterness of this character. He made it unique, and you can see how seriously he took the part. But I think it didn't hit so much because it lacked heart and motivation. The reasons why he's the Joker and the choices for doing what he's doing. They didn't focus enough on the relationship between Joker and Harley. The audience didn't get a chance to invest in the characters. We just watched a performance. After Suicide Squad has released two big movies that have been panned, both Morbius and Tron Ares have received lots of problems. As performances, it's hard to break it down because both of the movies are part of the problem. They're both the latest Hollywood movies that are on the tail end of the superhero special effects film that people are tired of. The stories are weak, the writing is weak, and so perhaps he didn't have a lot to play with. And what's worse for Jared Leto is that these movies are coming out right off the back of him receiving lots of outside negative publicity. He spent years cultivating an image of mystery, intensity, and artistic extremity. But the problem is that eventually the persona becomes almost impossible to separate from the work itself.
One can find truly staggering amounts of coverage on the horrendous behavior of Jared Leto. For over 3 decades, countless women have accused Leto of SA, violence, SH, and a plethora of other heinous actions.
By the early 2020s, Jared Leto was getting a lot of attention, and it was often less about the performances and more about the behind-the-scenes stories. After all his success in acting and his successful career as a rock star, Jared Leto suddenly was elevated to such a high point after the Oscar that he essentially became a god. Man, that Oscar win really changes your life. The Second Coming arrived with Mars Island, an event organised by the band itself, where fans get to pay to attend a multi-day event that included concerts, yoga activities, meet and greets, and other stuff.
Everybody find a spot to lay down on the ground.
Your knees. Son of a bitch. Your dick is as hard as Chinese arithmetic.
The internet went wild when photos emerged showing Leto in white robes, surrounded by fans, all dressed in white.
They are a very, very unique group of people that really believe in 30 Seconds to Mars, and they travel from show to show to show, and it's the very core following that we have. Yes, it is a cult.
The problem with building this public persona around mystery and weird behavior, even if it's a joke, is that eventually people start treating it like a joke. For years, Jared Leto's reputation existed in this strange space between genuine admiration and internet fodder. The eccentric actor, the method performer, the guy who always seemed to have another bizarre story attached to his name. And this always happens. These things just get out of hand. If there's a pattern to Jared Leto's career, it looks something like this. His early work before the Oscar with supporting roles like in Thin Red Line, Fight Club, American Psycho. He's a great solid actor and he adds to the films that he's in. And shifting over to the bigger parts like Chapter 27, Dallas Buyers Club, he's moving into the driving seat now of big movies, and this teaches him that critics love a transformation and they reward it. Then Suicide Squad teaches him that journalists and the publicity love a transformation even more. But what he then learns is with great spectacle and great publicity, even though it can improve his god status, it can actually hurt his performances. I say he's learned, I have no idea if he's learned. At some point, the backstage documentary started feeling more important than the movie, and Hollywood absolutely ate it up. Because the transformations are easy to reward. You can see it, you can measure it, and you can put it on a magazine cover. But good acting is harder. Good acting doesn't come with a before and after photo. And when you strip away all the noise of the publicity, that's the uncomfortable question sitting underneath Leto's career. How much of the reputation came from the work itself, and how much came from the packaging? Requiem for a Dream still has the answer. When you watch that film, you can see the actor that people thought he was going to become. The talent, the instinct, and the screen presence is all there. But like a lot of big Hollywood actors, they start out so inspiring, so dedicated to the craft, and then something happens. Whether it's money, fame, or the accolades, they choose a route to go down. Whether it's big action movies for some actors, or generic comedies playing the same type of character in every one. Jared Leto has gone down this big blockbuster route, playing more fictional characters. He's an actor and a performer who wants to develop into something special, but if he could just go back to another part that's more his type. And even after the Oscars, he's done that in a few small things, like The Little Things and The Outsider. But who knows what he's gonna do? They gotta go for that big paycheck, don't they?
What do you say? What do you say? What do you think? You know, say. What do you think? You know, can't just do you say? What do you think?
You know,